Hey, Sam here from Sugar Spun Run, and today we are making Rice Krispie treat cookies. Okay, so this is a fun one. Kind of my own invention. I've never heard of these before, though I'm sure they exist somewhere. These are Rice Krispie treat cookies. So cookies loaded with Rice Krispies or crisped rice and mini marshmallows. They're a little bit messy, they're so delicious, and there's no chilling required. So go ahead, get your oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, obviously you're going to need a large mixing bowl to start, or you could make today's recipe in your stand mixer using the paddle attachment. Today I am going to be using my electric hand mixer though. All right, we're starting with 1 cup or 226 grams, usually 2 sticks, of softened unsalted butter. And we're going to add 1 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar, that's 200 grams, and a ½ cup or 100 grams of granulated sugar. And then we are going to use our mixer to beat this together until this is nicely creamed, light and fluffy. I do want to just take a minute for any new cookie makers here and just point to the bowl here. I understand a lot of people will see this, say it's combined, it's good enough. It's not enough. You want to make sure this is totally creamed. See how this is piecey, you can still see chunks of butter? You don't want that. It's for anyone who might be new here. All right, you can see this is much creamier. This is what you're looking for. This is a lot more light and fluffy. No butter left behind. Okay, let me make a little space here. Next, we're going to be adding our eggs. So first up, 1 large egg. Room temperature is ideal. Anytime you're making a batter, unless otherwise indicated, all of your ingredients should really be the same temperature, and that should usually be room temperature. We've got 1 egg. We have 1 egg. Add this. And we're also going to add 1 yolk. So adding just this extra yolk instead of the yolk and the white is going to give us, a chewier cookie. It also helps us not have to chill the dough. The cookies won't spread as much, they'll just be more tender. So 1 extra yolk. You can save that white for meringues, for making candied nuts, whatever you want. Next is our vanilla. We're going to be adding 1½ teaspoons, which is 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla extract. I love my homemade vanilla. This one is like a 1.5 years old at this point, so it's really good. All right, let's stir everything together again. Those black specks, you want those black specks. They're so full of flavor. Okay, everything's looking nicely combined. Quick scrape of the bowl to make sure everything actually is as uniform as it appears to be. See, a little bit of egg on the bottom. We want that mixed in, especially if you're using a stand mixer. Make sure you're scraping the bowl. You can slide this out of the way and grab a separate bowl for our dry ingredients. This is 2 3/4 cup or 344 grams of all-purpose flour. We're going to be adding a teaspoon of baking powder and a ½ teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of table salt. We'll whisk all these ingredients together. So we have our marshmallows and our crisped rice, but we're not going to add those yet. First, we're going to combine our wet and dry ingredients. And I do recommend doing this in parts, like 3 parts. Don't add all the dry ingredients at once. Part 1. Part 2, and part 3. Okay, let's do a quick scrape of the bowl again. Make sure we're well combined. A little flour on the sides will work in. And the dough should be a little bit stiff and a little bit firm. That's why we're able to bake it right away instead of having to chill it. So our mix-ins, we are going to be adding 2 cups of crisped rice. That is 60 grams. Crisped rice, Rice Krispie cereal is very light. If you are someone using a scale, make sure you actually use your scale to measure and don't just assume that 1 cup equals something. Like a lot of people think, oh, a cup is 8 ounces. Well, that's true if you're talking about water. It's not true if you're talking about flour. Or they'll say, oh, you say a cup of flour is this, but a cup of sugar is this. That's because a cup of sugar is heavier than a cup of flour. So 200 grams is a cup of sugar, and you'll need 125 grams for a cup of flour. So it's important to actually listen to what the numbers say and not just assume that a cup equals a certain number you have in your head. I think that made sense. I had a guy the other day, made my thick chocolate chip cookies, called for 4 cups of flour. It had the weight listed. He said, well, a cup is 8 ounces. So he ended up adding, 32 ounces of flour, which was like double what the recipe was. And then he told me it was my fault, even though I listed a weight. So please don't make up weights, please. All right, off my soapbox. Marshmallows. You'll want to use mini marshmallows for this recipe. These are just regular mini, not those super mini, I think they're freeze-dried ones. This is 1.5 cups. Marshmallows, that's 85 grams. Sometimes they can stick together, so I just wanted to make sure they were nicely broken up. I don't like to use my mixer to work these in. You could. Your Rice Krispie cereal is going to take a little bit more of a beating if you do that. So I like to do this by hand, even though it is going to be some effort, because as we mentioned, the dough is kind of stiff. Rice Krispie cereal was always my favorite when I got to have cereal as a kid, because my mom would let me add sugar, and I would always add a lot of sugar. Okay, once you have everything well combined, we're going to roll right into scooping. So let me grab my baking sheet. Okay, I'm using my 1.5 tablespoon size scoop. I'm going to use 2 of these because I want 3 tablespoons of dough per cookie. And I do kind of force the dough in there because with marshmallows, it can be, you know, they're squishy and springy. So 1, 2, and if you're weighing them, 54 grams per cookie. Okay, I'm going to gently roll this into a ball because it's going to make the cookies a little bit more uniform looking, but these cookies look messy when they come out of the oven. I'm going to show you what you can do about that if you care when they come out, but for now, just going to roll it. And then any exposed marshmallow, I tried not to have too much on the sides if I can help it, if I'm thinking about it and if I care about how they look. So I've got it on the top, that's fine, but the stuff on the sides, I try to keep the stuff that's marshmallow free on the sides, if that makes sense. Now marshmallow, it's just going to melt all over the outside of the cookie and it's gonna kind of like caramelize and candy a little bit. If you don't care about that, it's fine, you can leave them looking like that. But if you want them a little prettier, we do have a semi-solution. They're not gonna be like tidy chocolate chip cookies. Oh, speaking of chocolate chips, if you want, you can add chocolate chips to this recipe. I originally was going to make these chocolate chip Rice Krispie treat cookies. Just stir in a cup of, I prefer milk chocolate, but semi-sweet would obviously work as well. But I found that the chocolate chips overpowered the Rice Krispie flavor. So you can do it, but try it this way at least once. Look, I've pretty much given up on the marshmallow on the side thing. Okay, these cookies are going to go into the center rack of our 350 Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius oven. They're going to bake for about 13 to 14 minutes. You're going to want to look for some light browning on the side of the cookies, but make sure you're not looking at melted marshmallow because that melted marshmallow is going to brown pretty quickly. You want to see if any actual cookie is turning a light golden brown. Okay, now as you can see, these look pretty messy. Actually, I've seen worse. This is a better, neater batch. If you don't like your cookies looking messy, immediately grab a pair of spoons and use that to round those spilled edges back into the cookie. Honestly, these turned out pretty well, all things considered. Usually they're pretty messy. All right, now I recommend letting the cookies cool completely on the baking sheet before enjoying. So these are a little hot, so I'll see you in a couple minutes for the taste test. Okay, we're back. Our cookies have cooled at least enough to pick up, so I'm gonna show them to you. Let's go ahead and rip one open. Oh. Should have done it was a little warmer so you would get more of that stretchy marshmallow in there. There you go. That is how you make these Rice Krispie cookies. They are perfectly sweet, chewy, crisp, and crunchy all at the same time. They're an experience and they're amazing. If you try them, let me know what you think. I really do always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time.
Can I have a cookie?
Yeah, that's why you're here, isn't it? All right, you want this half?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try this one. What do you think? Should I put it on the website? Yeah? You sure? How many stars do you give it?
300.
Wow, thank you, son.